go, friends. Doc South saying hey, and I don't know. Today, for some reason, these things happen. I guess I was trying to think of a time, and there's been many when I was really in deep doo doo. Yeah, right up to my neck. Yeah. And there's been plenty of times, and I was trying to think of one that maybe I haven't told you about yet, or anyone for that matter. And I've talked a lot about the auto wreck I was in. It's a miracle I survived. As yeah, poor Julia and I were heading towards that 55 Oldsmobile. We were in deep doo doo on that black ice. Oh my God, out in Ohio, and that was one time. But I said, God, I've talked about that a million times. What else? What else is there? And I don't know. I must have been, well, this is Sunday, right? And there must have been something as I walked past the TV where they showed a very nice church. And all of a sudden it hit me. I said, oh my God, the rocket incident at St. Mary's. Oh, was I in for it there? Oh, and I came so close, friends. Oh, so close to really, really being in the deepest of doo doo. Yes, I shudder to think of it. Ah, I was maybe well, my grandma lived out in Newcastle, Pennsylvania. Okay, yeah, and a lot of my mom's sisters, and I would go out there to visit in my teenage years. I loved going out to see grandma. We had a grand old time together, her and me. We go play bingo. Yeah, she'd sneak me into the bingo games. I was a little too young to be, playing the boards, but somehow she'd get me through. And she had pull, yeah, at the bingo game, and and we'd have a ball. She'd cook all my favorite meals, and we'd eat Coney Island hot dogs, and I'd see Uncle Bill, and maybe he'd take me to the stock car races. It was a great vacation, and usually maybe I'd ride the train back with Grandma because she wanted to visit my mom, and of course my end of the family, and all that. Oh, it was couldn't ask for a better time. And usually when I get out there, uh, I'd be treated very well. Grandma would say, hey, she says, well, here's some money. Why don't you go on down to the hobby store, see if there's anything there you want? She'd slip me maybe $5, which back then was a lot of money. Gosh, darn near buy out the store with that. And I was always a fan of model airplanes. They had one at the Newcastle hobby store. There was a plane that the wings folded back. Yeah, and you launched it with a rubber band, and that thing would go up and sail around. Oh, the wings would open up once it got to altitude, and yeah, fantastic airplane. But it was a little, I don't know. I had bought enough of them. In fact, I think I did buy one to take home because, frankly, letting that thing go in a in a town, a city, heaven knows where it would wind up. So and we were kind of close to the Beaver River and all that. I figured, okay, I'll put that in the suitcase. I got one of them. It was about $1.50, and but then I saw it. Oh, it called to me. It said, "Oh, Doc, come here and look. You want to buy me?" And what it was, remember those water rockets? You'd fill it with water. It was a plastic, like a Nike Zeus. You filled it with water to a certain point, and then you put it on an air pump and you pumped it. Maybe they said don't go over 10, but all of us kids would go take it up to 20, up to the limit, and you'd release it in a spray of water, and the rocket would take off. Remember them? Well, they had something to put that simple rocket to shame. It was it was a 3-stage pumper. That's right. It may have even been 4 stages, but I'll go with 3. You had the main rocket, you had another rocket, attached to that, and then you had a satellite, a big knobby old satellite that sat on the top of the second rocket. So you had 3 stages. It may have even been that you had a much bigger first rocket, a normal size second, a smaller third, and then the satellite. It may have been that much. It took you a while to fill it with water, and then you had to pump it. And the air would go into all 4 stages. Let's say it was 4 stages, because I think it was. I'm almost certain it was. And you pump and pump and pump. Oh, God, if you had friends around, maybe they'd pump too. And you just keep going till you couldn't push it anymore. And then you'd release the trigger, and it would take off. And this darn thing, it would go 200 feet in the air. And at supersonic speeds, as far as a kid was concerned. Well, I got one of them. In fact, I got 2 of them. So I put one in the suitcase next to my folding wing balsa airplane, and I got one for. I figure, what harm could it do? I'm in Grandma's backyard. It'll go straight up. It'll come straight down. I didn't realize that it also had stabilizers. Yeah, stabilizers, which would steer it, and I hadn't adjusted them. Oh, what was I thinking? Well, I filled it with water, filled all 4 stages with water, pumped it till I was green. I was in Grandma's backyard, and this one was really under pressure. It took all my force to pull back on the trigger. I release the trigger, and the rocket takes off, and the first stage goes up at least 150 feet. It's like 100 feet above Grandma's house. And it all of a sudden, the stabilizers kick in, and it starts heading for, well, Grandma's church, St. Mary's, which is sort of like, it's sort of like, it was like a cathedral. It was a beautiful church, but my rocket's heading right for it. And they got stained glass windows, beautiful stained glass windows. My rocket's doing about 40, 50 miles an hour, heading right for the side of St. Mary's. Oh my God, it's going right for it. And the stages separate. Now the second stage is moving even faster. There's less weight, less drag, and it's hauling you know what. Again, heading right for the church. In fact, it kind of veered a little bit, and now it's heading for that big stained glass window over the front doors. And it's like a 15-foot circle of stained glass, and I'm heading right for it. It's, oh my God, I'm looking. There was nothing I could do but holler. And I'm thinking, how thick is stained glass can it take the hit? Oh, and it goes down to now it's the stage separates, lands in the street, and now it's just the rocket and the satellite are just hauling butt right for the ground zero is going to be right in the center of that. Oh, thank God. There was the stabilizer, that third rocket had a stabilizer, and it went along the side of the building, and then the satellite took hold and went actually above the spires of St. Mary's, and the third stage and the satellite landed on the roof and got stuck in a gutter. But man, I sat there and I said, oh, thank you, God. Oh. And I no, luckily no one saw it. No, in fact, I really didn't have the nerve to go over and ask if I could go up on the roof and get my rocket back. I figured that was tempting fate. But it may still be up there. Although, gosh, that was decades ago. Now they've probably done the roof a few times and wonder, hey, what's this stupid plastic rocket doing up here? Yeah. But, oh my God, I was thinking, what do I tell Grandma? I just shattered the stained glass in the front of St. Mary's. Oh, that would have been it for Coney Island hot dogs and visits to Grandma's house from then on. Oh, I could see my allowance being severed, diverted to the window fund. Oh, Later in life, I did get, I didn't know this at the time, but stained glass is pretty tough. And there was a pretty good chance I would have hit one of the lead, the lead between the glass. I probably would have been okay. But, you don't know that at the time when you're a kid. And I got to say, I was pretty shook indeed. From then on, I'd take. Luckily for me, Aunt Barb's house was right next to a graveyard, and I went and I got another rocket. Uh, Grandma noticed I had lost mine. She says, "Well, what happened?" I said, "Oh, I don't know, Grandma. It just got lost." I just didn't want to tell her. It would worry her. And so she slipped me some money to go get another. And from then on, Aunt Barb's the house, the graveyard right next door. That was a great spot for it. Nothing you could hurt there. Oh, you might knock a candle off a tombstone or something, but that'd be about it. Mm. In any case, and of course, if there was a funeral, out of respect, you'd call off the rocket launch for at least an hour. It'd be 60 minutes in holding. That was the Lord's Prayer day. Yes. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread and forgive us our trespasses. Big emphasis on that. As we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever. So be it. Temptation to fire a rocket near St. Mary's never came to me again. No. Oh my God. Oh, what a mess that would have been. I don't know how I could have explained that to anyone. I just blasted a hole through the front window of St. Mary's, right over the big entrance where people getting married go walking through, and there's this big hole in the stained glass. That would have been awful. Anyway, I'll see you later, friends. Thank you, and watch where you release your rockets. I'll see you later. Bye now.